The plan that the Houston Texans have for their top offensive lineman added this offseason is now clear. Ariante Ursery, the 48th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft by the Texans. They know exactly how they want to use him, and how they're going to use him creates a couple of questions about the use of Ursery along the offensive line. Some of the other questions about the offensive line as well. Let's get into them. Thanks to my friends at The Perfect Gene. 15% off and free shipping. Use my link in the description down below and get you the perfect pair of jeans from The Perfect Gene. Ariante Ursery selected 48th overall. The thought process was the Texans needed some help on the interior offensive line heading into the draft, but they drafted a tackle in Ursery. So naturally, the conversation was, hey, maybe, just maybe, Ursery could bump down inside. Was that the plan for Ursery, or do they plan to keep him at tackle? I had to know from DeMeco Ryans.
DeMeco, do you anticipate Ursery having the opportunity to compete for guard snaps even though he played tackle in college?
Adding Ursery to our team through the draft, really liked his tape in college at tackle. He played left tackle, so we'll start him out at tackle and see how he does there. But my vision for him was always he can help us at tackle.
So the head coach lays it out right there. Ursery is a tackle for the Texans, and that makes a ton of sense. 97%, nearly 97% of Ursery snaps for the Golden Gophers when he was at Minnesota was at left tackle. So he primarily played left tackle for his college team, and it would make sense that if he played left tackle and played it well enough to be a top 50 selection in this draft, that you would indeed keep him at tackle. Though there was conversation after the draft pick about could he go inside, but 6'6", over 330, it's a pretty big guy to put inside, and he doesn't have a lot of experience anywhere but left tackle. So you're putting a lot on the rookie's plate, and he already has to make a big jump. DeMeco Ryans talked about it this offseason. The jump for offensive linemen is massive going from college. Even the Big Ten, where you're facing big-time players like Abdul Carter, who was the number 3 overall pick, it's still a massive jump for these players making the leap to the NFL. So it's already a big jump, and then you maybe try to add a whole new position. It didn't make a lot of sense, his size, his history, so he's going to be a tackle. And the way that Nick Caserio talked about Blake Fisher a year ago continues to ring in the back of my brain when he talks about, hey, the team's going to keep 8 offensive linemen. Usually that's going to be 4 tackles. And with your backup tackle, you want to know, hey, can they play left tackle? Can they play right tackle? Now, obviously, a year ago, we were thinking Blake Fisher clearly going to be a backup tackle. The team had Laramie Tunsil entrenched at left tackle. A healthy Titus Howard was the favorite to be the right tackle. So Fisher very clearly a backup a year ago, but Nick Caserio said a couple of different times when talking about Fisher, he said, hey, you can't have too many tackles, and that's another situation that the Texans find themselves in with the drafting of Ursery. My first big question here about the competition for Ursery is he going to compete at left tackle, or is he going to compete at right tackle, or is he going to compete at both? Is this rookie going to push Cam Robinson, the prospective left tackle that the team added via free agency for a hefty sum, well over $10 million for the 1-year contract? Or is he going to push Blake Fisher at right tackle, who the team drafted last year, had him in the building, and of course turned to him after they bumped Titus Howard inside to guard, and Fisher played right tackle to finish out the year for the Texans. So is Ursery going to push at left tackle or right tackle? Naturally, having played almost every single snap for the Golden Gophers at Minnesota, the thought process is, hey, Ursery's going to challenge at left tackle. Can he beat out Cam Robinson? Why not? Why couldn't he beat out Cam Robinson? Now, it would bring into question the spending on Cam Robinson, and that'd be a very, very expensive backup for the Houston Texans if indeed Ursery beat out Cam Robinson. But having a player with Robinson's talent as a backup player, even though you don't love having spent the money on that, you were hoping that when you give him, $12, $13 million, he was going to start at left tackle. It'd be great to have Ursery beat out Cam Robinson and be the left tackle. I have a hard time seeing that happening, and I do feel like with the financial investment in Cam Robinson at left tackle, he's going to have a nice head start on Ursery in the competition to be left tackle. Now, flipping it over to the right side, again, most of the snaps for Ursery were at left tackle at Minnesota, but it doesn't mean that he couldn't challenge Blake Fisher right away for right tackle snaps. And then Fisher, who last year served as the backup tackle for a portion of the season, filling in for both Laramie Tunsil at left tackle and Titus Howard at right tackle. If Ursery beats him out, then Fisher bumps down to that backup tackle spot. And again, it wouldn't call into question exactly why the team drafted Ursery. It would call into question why Blake Fisher was the pick last year. That's a conversation for what happens if Ursery comes out and competes at right tackle. What it seems to me, though, the plan for Ursery is, hey, you get a crack at both these tackle spots. You're fighting an uphill battle to beat out either Cam Robinson or Blake Fisher, but you'll get the opportunity. And if you do, we'll figure out what to do with them. And if you don't beat out either of those tackles, then Ursery clearly becomes a high-level backup option for the Houston Texans. Remember, you think about some of the other tackles that were on the roster prior to Ursery getting drafted. Austin Deculus, nice player, but you don't exactly love the idea of Austin Deculus being your swing tackle in a situation where, of course, we've seen the Texans have to use multiple tackles, both at left and right tackle over the past couple of seasons. So Ursery, it feels like the most likely outcome, a high-level backup for the Houston Texans. But if he gets to compete at both those tackle spots, it's not going to be easy for Cam Robinson at left tackle or Blake Fisher at right tackle to fend off this talented rookie. I do like their chances to ultimately beat him out, and he becomes a key backup for this team. So if he's not going to play guard, I do have a question about the interior of the offensive line. I want to quickly tell you about my friends at The Perfect Gene. When I tell you that these jeans are breathable, they are lightweight, and they are so comfortable, I'm not lying to you. It's hard for me to find jeans, but The Perfect Gene was an incredible investment for me. Usually when I walk in the door, I want to get the jeans off as fast as possible. Not these. I can sit around in them for long periods of time. I can lounge around in them. And again, it's about to be hot in Houston. They are breathable. You do not get crushed and trap heat in these jeans. You're going to get 15% off, free shipping, free exchanges. If you get a size that's maybe a little bit too big or you want to try a different style, the exchanges are free as well. So are the returns with The Perfect Gene. Check them out, the link in the description down below. Get that 15% off. Get the free shipping. Try out all the different colors and all the different styles that The Perfect Gene have. You can find the perfect fit for you. My next question out of Ursery as a tackle is, do they have enough at guard? Is there enough on the interior offensive line for this Houston Texans team? Laken Tomlinson and Ed Ingram were additions in the offseason prior to the draft. Tomlinson via free agency, Ed Ingram via a trade with the Minnesota Vikings. They claimed James Andrews off of waivers from the New England Patriots, the Texans did. And then, of course, they have some holdover names from last year, guys like Juice Scruggs, who played both guard positions last year in addition to center. Jarrett Patterson, who played left guard and center last season. Nick Broker, who's been on the roster for a couple of seasons, has guard and tackle flexibility for the Texans. They've got options. They've got competition. I just don't know if we feel great about any of these options or competition turning these guys into offensive linemen on the interior that we would trust heading into the season. Now, the conversation point about Titus Howard, Nick Caserio a year ago said that Howard's a better tackle than he is guard. Obviously, last season he said that Juice Scruggs is a better center than he is guard. Maybe those things have changed so that both those players are options at guard. It's worth noting Titus Howard, when he has played guard, has been at left guard. That's the position that Laken Tomlinson, the free agent the Texans added, has primarily played in his time in the NFL. And he's an Ironman. He basically never misses time. I have a hard time thinking that a career guard would lose out to Titus Howard. So can Titus Howard play right guard? Can Juice Scruggs play right guard? If Scruggs is beating out Patterson at center, can Patterson play right guard? Is he better suited for left guard? There's still a ton of questions about the interior of the offensive line, and we had a ton of questions about the interior of the offensive line when the offseason got started. So none of these questions are going to get answered anytime soon. Not with the schedule release, not with rookie minicamp, not with OTAs, not with mandatory minicamp. Nothing is going to get answered in the next few months. It will be training camp before the options, the many options that they have on the interior of the offensive line, get to compete and ultimately decide who that interior is protecting CJ Stroud. The tackles weren't amazing last year, but they weren't the big problem with this offensive line. It was the interior of the offensive line. Those three spots in the middle, the two guards in the center, they were the biggest problem with this offensive line last season. And the options that they have in the building, new offensive coordinator Nick Caley's offense, as well as the coaching from the promoted Cole Popovich to the offensive line coach spot, those are going to have to be the answers to the many questions we have, because as far as a big investment or a big name on the interior, they're going interior by committee here with the Houston Texans. So what say you? You like the fact that Ursery's not getting a crack at guard? Would you have preferred to at least give him a look on the interior? Would you just flat out preferred an interior offensive lineman as the draft pick? Let me know in the comment section down below on your way down there. Thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out myself and Landry Locker from the Locker Room on SNL weekdays, 4 p.m. on the SNL Texans Talk channel, so don't miss out on that. And of course, don't forget to visit The Perfect Gene. Get you some fantastic pants. Put them on your behind. You will not want to take them off. Like all the other jeans you've worn in your life where you just can't wait to get them off, these are incredible. You can wear them forever, for everything. They are fantastic. They're the best jeans that I've ever put on. You'll like them as well. You're going to get 15% off your first purchase when you use my link in the description down below. I mentioned free shipping, free exchanges. Can't get much better than my friends at The Perfect Gene. Appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.